There comes a time in your life when you realize everything's fucked. You're drifting through space without a tether, and there's nothing to tell you where to go or what to do. You look at your life up to this point, and things just don't seem to make any sense anymore. Everything is crazy, and no one understands anything. Nothing makes any sense, and it's overwhelming, but everything just carries on. And it drives you insane, because everything is always the same, even though everything is always different. And everyone acts like everything's normal when normal doesn't exist. And you don't understand anything, and no one can help you understand anything, but everyone pretends to understand something anyways. And sometimes you break, and sometimes you want to break things, and sometimes your brain breaks, and sometimes you realize that there's so much bigger than you out there, and you're nothing, and it all means nothing, nothing, nothing. Take a deep breath. Life goes on. When I first played Night in the Woods a few years ago, I didn't really connect with it that much. I liked the game fine, I liked the themes a lot, but I just didn't think of it much after playing it. This year, I sat down and played it again. A lot has happened in my life in these few years. This is a very interesting time in my life, a time when I am just becoming an adult, and an interesting time for the entire world when everyone is truly realizing just how fragile the lives we've built in human society are. We knew, but it still hits differently when it actually hits you. And that's how it was for me too. A couple years ago, I had a bit of a crisis, and by that I mean I went batshit insane. Without going into too much detail, I had a massive mental breakdown and couldn't function for about a year due to all kinds of existential dread. Now, let me put this into perspective for you. This was out of the blue. It shouldn't have been out of the blue, but it was. The signs of mental illness were there, but looking back and saying, wow, me and everyone around me should have seen this coming, doesn't change the fact that we didn't. In any case, though, although I had signs of mental illness that retroactively seemed quite obvious, I also was quite a happy and content person. I wasn't worried about my future, and the big questions about the nature of life and the universe didn't bother me much. I was always content just to be alive, and I had the idea that that stuff didn't really matter so long as I was happy. I was rather happy-go-lucky. From a young age, I had decided that meaning was something you created, not found. I remember feeling that my life was meaningful so long as I gave it meaning, and I was content with that. I didn't really need answers to those big questions. I already had answers for my life. Then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Not really. It was a slow process of things building up inside of me. Things that I ignored because they scared me. That, combined with going to American high school, among other traumas, would eventually cause me to lose my shit. See, a lot of things bothered me. A lot of things about society. I had this growing feeling that everything and everyone around me was fake. I felt like an alien, totally out of place among humans. I didn't understand the things other people cared about. I felt like most people only cared about things that don't really matter. And I felt like everyone around me was pretending that they understood things, pretending that things made sense, pretending things mattered when they didn't. And it just kept building up over time. And I got angry because I felt like I was the only one that saw that everything was just fake. And as time went on, this morphed, and I grew more and more angry at people I felt were being willfully ignorant, and society that was built on things that I honestly couldn't give two shits about. Eventually, it got to the point where I just felt everything was meaningless, and I thought the universe was terrifying. Everyone on this planet, myself included, were just grasping at things to keep us from hurtling into the void, because that's all we can do, grasp onto fake concepts, pretend they mean something, cling to them so that we can cling to our sanity. And there are so many terrifying things in this universe we can't even begin to understand, and I am so small and helpless. Before I knew it, all these feelings had built up too much, and I lost my grip on reality. It was the darkest time of my life. I couldn't function, I was afraid of everything, and I lost all sense of meaning. Fortunately for me, I wasn't alone. I have the best father in the world who helped me through it, and my family could fortunately pay for therapy and medicine for me, which is, lucky, considering I live in America. I hate America. Without going into the nitty-gritty details, over the next couple of years, I managed to drag myself out of that state with a few relapses. As of now, my mental health is still not as good as it was before the breakdown, but it is much, much better, and I feel like myself again. Now, this year, I've been holed up inside doing literally nothing. I graduated high school, barely, and took a gap year so as not to melt down my first year of college. That could still happen, hopefully it won't. So, I had nothing much to do at all. So one day I decided to sit down and play that game that I'd played once before, Night in the Woods. And I was like, wow, who knew all I had to do to connect more with this game was to have a massive mental breakdown and spend 2 years clawing my way out of hell. Night in the Woods is about a lot of things like growing up, change, the past, responsibility, friendship, mental illness, the existential horrors of the universe. In that order. Anyways, no wonder it managed to strike a chord with me at this point in my life. I'm getting over an existential breakdown, I'm getting ready for college, and I still have no idea what I'm going to do with my life. I could be a janitor and be happy though. Anyways, as I played through the game, I could relate to May's feelings a lot more. The feeling of things not really being real, the anger. As the game goes on, there's more and more of a feeling of existential doom. It's clear there are beings out there that can't be understood, not gods or monsters. It's clear that whatever they are, they don't care about May's world. There is no one to answer people's questions or prayers. May doesn't know what to believe in. She came home trying to find a way to make things make sense again, only for things to get way weirder. May meets higher beings that couldn't care less about the problems of people. She doesn't know what to do with her life, and she has to face that even the people who are supposed to understand life don't know what they're doing. And through all this, May is haunted by the ever-present fear of losing everything dear to her. Near the end of the game, it feels like the world is going to end, and there's nothing anybody can do. There's this feeling of terror, the horrible, icy fear that everything you've ever loved means nothing, the fear of losing it all, the fear of not understanding anything and having no control, and just being thrown around by a vast, uncaring universe. The fear of you yourself not caring, not being able to care anymore. At the end of the game, May faces the creature that's been haunting her all this time. And I've faced that monster too. I think a lot of people have. The monster that tells you that it doesn't matter, that nothing matters. You should stop caring because it doesn't mean anything anyways. And you just tell it to shut up. I'll care because I want to care. I want to care about things enough that it hurts to lose them. Because it means something. It means something to me. It means something to people. That's why May says, I want it to hurt. Because even if it is all meaningless, even if it's painful to care, it means something to me, and damn it, I am going to care. That mentality is what had helped me get out of the state I was in. Playing through the game was a bit surreal, like going through a recap of my own struggles for the past few years. And the game was a reminder of what pulled me through, what got me back on my feet, what will always pull me through. Before, I'd never had to face that monster head on. I had these feelings, but I'd never allowed myself to think of them, to think about how terrifying life can be and how truly scared I was. And because I ignored my fear for so long, it built up and tried to swallow me. But I didn't drown because I came to the same conclusion that May did. That you have to make meaning for yourself. That even if the universe doesn't care, we should. Life has meaning so long as you make it meaningful. And that is, in a way, how I've always felt. I don't care what the universe has or doesn't have to say. I'm just going to try to be happy, and try to make other people happy too. We may not understand what we're here for, if anything, but as much as we can, we should take charge of our own fates. The world can be terrible and make me question everything I ever believed in. I question everything a lot. But it is the pure desire to believe in something that pulls me through. That's what makes us human. I still love being alive. I truly do, despite everything. I think there's a lot to love in this world. And I want to share that and contribute to it in some small way. I have no good way of expressing myself because I'm not very creative, which is why I wanted to try this. I'm not good at getting other people to understand me, but what I want in life, more than anything, is to share my feelings. I need a way of organizing my thoughts and putting them out there, regardless of whether or not many other people ever see them. Even if I'm just speaking out into the void, that's okay. In any case, I can't keep everything in my mind anymore. It just comes out in the form of mental breakdowns, which is not preferable. And I want my life to have some kind of purpose. I want there to be proof of my existence. I want my life to have meaning, even if there isn't any meaning. I want it to have meaning to me, and for other people too, if possible. I have a lot trapped in my head that I need to put out there into the world for my own sake. I don't care if no one ever sees anything I put up here. I've put it out there, and it exists somewhere other than my head. And if people do see it, all the better. It can exist in their heads too. Existence is a very strange thing. It makes me depressed to think certain things may only ever exist within my own head and die with me. For my own sake, for my own existence, I want to try to put some of these things out into the world. Something out there that proves my existence. At least it has meaning to me. That's all that matters. Life is a very, very weird thing. Nothing makes any sense, and I'm tired of pretending that it does. Most people are scared. Most people are sad. We don't know anything, and the universe is huge and unknowable, but I believe that life is worth living. I believe that no matter what, we can and should enjoy ourselves while we're here. The best thing we can do to try to understand life is to share our thoughts, connect to other people, and help everyone realize none of us is alone. Anyways, if you also feel like an alien with weird thoughts it's hard to express to others, if you feel insane or like the world's insane, if you're lost in your own world and you don't understand people, if you're not sure what to believe, not sure what to do with your life, you're not alone. Our thoughts do have meaning, and it's through sharing and connecting with each other that we build meaning. So that's what I'm going to do. Make my life as meaningful as I can to myself.